blogging is definitely the platform that provides a ton of opportunities for you to earn an income, but there are multiple streams and multiple things involved with earning income through the platform of blogging.
Get ready to build, protect, and sell your expertise online with the Online Genius Podcast. You'll laugh. We hope you won't cry, but you'll always be informed and prepared so you can have the success you want. Here's your host, Bobby Klink.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Online Genius Podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Klink, and I'm really excited for today's show. Today, we're going to be talking about blogging and how you can actually make money with a blog and also affiliate marketing. And these are really exciting topics because let's be honest, we're in business to make money. We want to serve people. Obviously, we're called to do certain things. Each of us has our own sets of talents that we enjoy. But at the end of the day, we have to be able to support ourselves and our lives through our businesses. And so an important part of that is obviously making money. And so today's guest is going to help us understand how we can actually make a living with a blog and with affiliate marketing and how we can add that to our mix of different ways that we make money. Luckily, you're not going to listen to me talk about this because who wants to listen to a lawyer talk about those things? Instead, today's featured guest is Katie Hornor. Katie and her husband began their entrepreneurial journey in 2012 with no savings and very little monthly income. Living solely on ministry donations, they hustled every spare minute and have grown their businesses debt-free. They live, work, and homeschool their 5 children in tropical Mexico, where their businesses allow them to pursue their passion for transforming home education for the Spanish-speaking world with their Lemon Haas homeschool curriculum created specifically for Spanish speakers. Now, Katie speaks internationally at online business and educational events, is the author of more than 40 self-published books and courses for children and adults. She also hosts the Blogging Successfully Retreats, has been featured at Florida Parent Educators Association annual convention and blended blogging conferences, among others. As the founder of bloggingsuccessfully.com, The Blog Connection, Katie coaches women to make a business of their hobby and attain freedom with online income stability from anywhere. Her coaching clients are raving about her wisdom, her integrity, and her ability to simplify complicated processes and her passion for making others successful. Welcome to the Online Genius Podcast, Katie.
Thank you, Bobby. I'm so happy to be here today.
Now, I'm excited to talk about blogging and affiliate marketing, but I always like to ask my guests a couple of questions that's a bit interesting and not necessarily about business. And to me, the most interesting thing is that you live in Mexico and you actually run a coffee shop out of your house. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
And how did it come about that you decided to have a coffee shop out of your house?
Well, long story short, we've been in Mexico 10 years, and about 2.5 years ago, the Lord allowed us to purchase a historic home here in Campeche. And we're right on a busy street. And part of the reason that we live here is because we do have local ministry as well as the online business that we do. And we were just looking for ways that we could reach the community better, ways to make more bridges and meet more people and create those relationships that then allows us to share Christ with them. So we have this room in our house that we're restoring that is open to this busy street, and all the buses pass by every 20 minutes or so all day long, and it's got really good visibility. And we thought, well, why don't we open a coffee shop? And we already have a business license for a bookstore here. And so we have a coffee shop where we also, sell our books and distribute our essential oils and teach classes and share good coffee with people.
Now, is the coffee shop a money-making venture, or is it more just a way to kind of connect with people?
Well, we really didn't get started until late in the year 2017. So at this point, it's still more of a community outreach. We also have 5 children. You mentioned that in the introduction. And so we're trying to also use it as a way to teach our teenagers something about entrepreneurship, getting them involved with learning how to make the coffee and having their own work hours and interacting with customers and making change and, all those sorts of life skill things. So hopefully down the road, it will be a moneymaker. But at this point, it's still more of a ministry and a way to train our kids.
Talking about training your kids brings me back to the days when my father, when I was growing up, he ran a chain of drugstores in South Texas, and I worked the register, I worked the warehouse, and I worked just about every other job. So I can definitely relate.
Where in South Texas?
I grew up in McAllen, which is about 5 miles from the Mexican border, all the way down at the southern tip, about 40 or 50 miles inland. So,
okay. I graduated from high school in Mission, right next to McAllen. So I know the area.
My wife is from, Sherryland, Mission. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I can relate. That's funny how things like that happen. But let's turn now and talk about blogging. And that's where I want to talk first. And as I understand, a big part of your business is blogging, and you actually make money with your blog. Is that right?
Yes. I would say yes, but I would say there's also a little bit of explanation, which I think you're getting to.
Okay, well, go ahead and give that explanation now.
So a lot of people have this idea that you just kind of write a blog post and put it out there on the internet and it makes money flow into your bank account. And there is a whole lot more involved.
Wait. I thought if I make it, they will come. That's not how it works?
Right. Well, you've got to be able to market it. And this is something that, when people say, what do you wish you would have known better at the beginning? And I go back to, I wish I had learned more about marketing at the beginning, because I was so focused on creating my platform and creating my products that the marketing education was kind of put on the back burner. And yet it doesn't always happen that if you make it, they will come, because you have to have a way to tell them that you have it to begin with. And so, blogging is definitely the platform that provides a ton of opportunities for you to earn an income. But there are multiple streams and multiple things involved with earning income through the platform of blogging.
Well, Katie, I agree with you. I wish I had known more about marketing when I first launched my business, but at least you didn't have I actually had a problem, which was I come from a profession where marketing is very much a dirty word. So it took me a while to overcome that concept.
Right. Well, and I came from a ministry background where, asking for money was somewhat frowned upon. And so it also had some hurdles for us to overcome in realizing that when you offer something of value, there is no shame in that.
Yeah. Now, in a lot of what you write, you talk about kind of getting to the point of making $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. Why is it that you talk about that? Is that a kind of a tipping point, or you just think that's a good round number to use?
I think a lot of people aspire to that. I think it's a good place to start, and it gives hope. Well, it doesn't feel overwhelming to people. If I could make an extra $1,000 a month, how different would my life be? And then how much hope would that bring that things could be even better than that? And so it kind of, the $1,000 number for me gives a good mark, if you will, for people to aim for that is at the same time possible, but not overwhelming.
I think that's a good idea. And let's be honest, everybody could use an extra $1,000 in their pocket.
Yeah, so. Right.
You talk about a 3-step process, I guess, of how to get to the point of making $1,000 a month from your blog. So what are those steps?
Well, first of all, it's knowing your goals, knowing where you're headed. And all of that is involved in, what do you have to offer people? What is the problem that you solve? Figuring out who your people are and what you're going to give them. The second step is really the content or the solution that you offer. Are you creating a product? Are you offering content and affiliate links? Are you offering services and things like that? And then the third step is the marketing it, is letting people know that I have created this to help you and getting it out there. When you put all three of those in their place and you have a system for going from step 1 to 2 to 3 and a way to keep that momentum going, then it ultimately, you can't help but make money from it.
Now, listeners, I hope you listen to that, because Katie just gave you a lesson, not in blogging. She just gave you a lesson in business. And that is step 1 is know who your avatar is. Basically, know who you are talking to. Is that right? Is that what you would say step 1 really is?
Yes, you have to know who you're helping. It's a lot of people start blogging because they have something they want to say or they want to share, but you're not going to make money at it until you can see it from the perspective of who can I help and how will I help them.
And how do you suggest that people go about doing that? I mean, what are the kind of tools, or how can they get better at finding what their niche is or who their customer avatar is?
One thing I tell my coaching clients is that if someone asks you the same question more than 3 times, you need to take note of that. What is it that people are already seeing you as the expert in? What do they come to you for advice in or for help with? Anytime someone asks the question more than 3 times or asks for your help with a certain thing more than 3 times, that's something that could potentially be a blog post or a product or a service. And so a lot of times we overlook those things because we think, oh, it's too simple. Well, it is simple for you. You do it all the time, but it's not simple for those who are coming to you for help in that area.
And I assume part of it is also thinking through almost tone. Like, for example, for a long time, I wrote these blog posts that, they were way too, I don't know how to describe them other than maybe driven or, pointed to lawyers rather than being not legally. And now instead of legal problems, I say legal stuff, which I just try to make it, more down to earth to make it, I'm not above you and nothing like that. And is that a big part of what you coach your clients on?
You have to be conversational. You have to speak in a way that they're going to understand. And this is true whether you are a teacher of preschoolers or whether you're a teacher of adults. True communication is only communication if the listener understands the message. You have to find a way to communicate in a way that they will be able to understand and then apply what you've taught them to their particular situation.
Well, I'm going to quote you on that talking to my audience is no different than talking to preschoolers. So I'm going to tell them that Katie told me so.
That's not exactly what I said.
I know, but I like to paraphrase things slightly. Now, so we talked about kind of the process, and the second step you said is developing or figuring out what product or service you're going to offer. And I assume that's a big challenge for a lot of people in figuring out basically how they're going to make money from their blog or from their business generally.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it can be. And a lot of times it's a matter of, again, asking those questions. What problem do I already help people solve? But then how can I offer them value? Because again, looking at it from the reader's eyes, what are they going to consider valuable is different than what you may assume is valuable. And value comes in the eyes of the beholder. That saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure. You don't want to offer your people trash. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that if you look at what your audience needs, if you know who that avatar is, who that person that you're helping is, and you know what they need, then you'll have a clear direction for what you can offer them. And that may be in the form of an informational product, or it may be in the form of a class that you create. It may be the form of checklists or step-by-step instructions that they purchase. It could be one-on-one coaching with you. It could be services that are done for them when they hire you. There's a whole, innumerable amount of different products that can be created to solve that person's problem once you know who the person is and what they need help with.
Now, I wonder if you experienced this with your coaching clients. One of the big obstacles I had, this was not in the actual monetization piece, but in creating things like lead magnets, was I always thought more is more, meaning I thought people would rather have a 5-part course. And what I actually found is that quite often less is more, that a lot of times my avatar would rather have a 2-page checklist rather than a 5-part email series where they have to read a bunch of stuff from me. Do you find that's a mistake that a lot of entrepreneurs make?
Yes, it is, because we have a natural bent to want to show what we know. And again, we're thinking of what we know rather than what the person needs. There's actually been studies done on like the sales of books on Amazon, and the books that are shorter, that have a quick solution to one specific problem, end up selling more copies than the longer, more in-depth books. And so, we're dealing with a generation of people that is used to instant gratification. They usually have very little time to devote to solving whatever problem is on their plate at the moment. And they want to be able to get an answer quickly and an answer to one specific thing. And so when we break down what we offer to deal with those smaller specific things, then we can lead them. The other thing is, we as the provider of this content or the provider of this product or service, we know what the next step is. And our reader may not yet know that they need that thing that's beyond. And so by showing them the solution to this problem, that also gives us the opportunity to serve them again by saying, and when you get done with this, you're going to need to know this, and I've got this covered for you as well, and kind of lead them on that progression or lead them through that journey of helping them where you're the guide to making them better at each step because you've been there and you see what's coming ahead.
I think that's great advice, and people listeners, you should definitely focus in on that and understand that often the best way to go about this is solving one problem for your avatar. And I have to be honest, I have a problem with this, and I'm trying to get over it, Katie, but I have a problem with it. Because my problem is I see so many potential legal problems for folks, and I want to solve them all. So I'm going to take your advice. I'm actually going to work on that. But now I want to talk a little bit about kind of the ins and outs or specifics of blogging. Do you have general best practices for people about the actual practice of blogging that will help them to be more successful?
Yes, actually, I put a lot of emphasis in my trainings on what I call relationship marketing. You as a content creator or a problem solver have to create a relationship with the people that are out there. They don't want a drugstore or a grocery store or a super center answer because they have one of those down the street. When they come to you for an answer, they're looking for a person who's done this and has walked this road and knows what the obstacles are and has overcome. And so when you create a relationship with your people through that conversational tone in your blog post and in your emails, when you encourage them to engage with you on social media, when you're writing emails that show your humanity, not just your sales pitches, that is creating a relationship with them and that allows them to trust you when you offer them a solution to their next problem. And so that's a important thing, whether you are sharing an affiliate link on your blog or whether you're pointing them to a course you're recommending or something you've created, or whether you're inviting them to come to you for a particular service that you offer, is to have that relationship established ahead of time.
Yeah. And I think that's an important piece that a lot of people miss, and I see this in a lot of groups I'm in, where people will express that they're afraid to put too much of themselves into their blog posts. And I assume you would say that, short of, just way too much information, it's hard to put too much of yourself into a blog post, an email, or any other piece of content.
Right. Well, I mean, there's a line there as far as how much of your private life you disclose, obviously, but I'm talking about like personality and like sharing struggles that are universal to everyone. They want to know that you've been there and done that in order for them to follow your advice and to take the steps that you took to get where you are. And you have to be able to tell them that and be okay with sharing those things. And most of my blog posts at Blogging Successfully are more informational because it is more of a professional site, but you still get glimpses into my personality. You still see the language that I use and the different, phrases that are characteristics of my personality. And then if you meet me in person or if you watch a video that I've done, you see that come out again, and you get to see that this is actually a person, not just a brand sharing information.
Yeah. If you follow me, if you read my blog posts, if you get my emails, you're going to experience a lot of dad jokes. You're going to see me make fun of lawyers a lot because I like to do that.
Right.
You're going to see me make fun of myself some. So,
right.
I think that's the point you're making, is do some of that. Just be a little bit lighter. You don't have to be too serious all the time.
Right. And sharing little things about your life, that they want to see those inside glimpses of, yes, my kids had too much red food coloring this weekend and got crazy out of control. Those kinds of things that are like, oh, wow, yeah, she has kids that are crazy sometimes too. And yet she can do what she's doing. And that sharing your humanity side gives them something to identify with. And again, it's giving them hope. If they can do it, I can too.
Yeah, it's making them know, like, and trust you, which is obviously one part of getting them to want to buy from you.
Exactly.
Which then leads me to the next question, monetization. And realistically, how long does someone need to kind of be working at blogging before they can expect to start making money doing it?
Some of it depends on your strategies, and some of it depends on your goal. So your goal is to make money, but do you want to make money as an author? Do you want to make money as a coach? Do you want to make money as strictly an affiliate marketer? And so I don't think there is a 2 + 2 = 4 answer to that question, because each of us is so unique, which is another thing that I love so much about blogging, is that there is this unique thing. It's never the same for anyone. It's always a unique situation. And with each of my clients, it keeps it exciting as well, because each one has their own message and speaking to different people and going about it a different way. And so I think how long it takes, your original question, depends completely on your strategy and your goals, and somewhat on how much you work at it. And so if you create a product right off the bat, an ebook, for instance, and you start selling that, you could start making money from day one. If you were to offer services, you could start making money from day one. If you're going to get your money solely from ad income, ad networks, and affiliate marketing only on your blog, that's going to take some time, because you're going to have to build up enough traffic to be able to get the statistics to the point where, if I've got 10,000 people coming through, how many of those are clicking through? How many of those that click through are going to buy, to be able to make some income that way? And the income streams, like I said, are varied. You can have private affiliates. You can have like Amazon affiliates. You can have Google AdSense. You can have books and products that you sell yourself. You can have the services. And so, in any one month, our income may come from anywhere from 5 to 12 or 13 different streams.
Yeah, I love that you talk about the different streams. And I like that you mentioned affiliate marketing, and actually mentioned two different kinds of affiliate marketing. And that's kind of where I want to go now. I think most of the listeners know what affiliate marketing is, but why don't you give kind of a broad overview of what is affiliate marketing, in case there's someone listening who doesn't know?
Okay, so very basic explanation is that affiliate marketing means Bobby has a product, and he's going to give me a specific tracking code to recommend his product. So if I recommend his product on my website or in an email or on social media, I'm going to use that specific tracking link that leads people back to Bobby's product. If they go see his product and purchase it through that link, then it tracks that purchase as well, and then I would get a certain commission of the sale because I recommended it.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned the public versus private affiliates. Mm-hmm. And I think the public affiliates is something a lot of people don't realize, that, for example, just about anybody can become an Amazon affiliate. And if someone then, goes on one of your links and buys something from Amazon, you get, what is it? I think 5%, or it's not a huge percent.
It's actually only like 3%.
Yeah. But Amazon is obviously one of the smallest, but for example, you'll see a lot of different people who have prominent websites, and they will have a resources page. Now, Why don't you explain what that resources page is, Katie?
Sure. So I have recommended resources on bloggingsuccessfully.com, and we also have like recommended books. And each of those resources or books on those pages linking to the product through an affiliate link, and that is clearly disclosed on those pages. But if you click through to purchase a class that we recommend or a book that we recommend, you're clicking through one of our affiliate links. And so that is tracking the people who click through. And then if you purchase, then that company will send us a commission for the sale. And like you said, Amazon commissions are generally 3%. It depends on the volume of sales that you can produce for them. Sometimes it will go up if you're able to send them more sales. Whereas someone like me who's created a class may have a 10% or 15% or even a 25% affiliate commission in some cases. And so I can go and sign up directly with that blogger or that teacher or that company. I'm not recommending them through Amazon's platform. I'm going directly to that company or that person and signing up for their program, which would be like a private affiliate program, and getting a link directly from them to promote them specifically. And quite often the commissions are higher that way.
Yeah, and just about every one of the online software tools that entrepreneurs use has an affiliate program. Is that generally the case?
That is generally the case. Now, in 2018, I think you're going to see a shift with that because of the Nexus laws that are governing affiliate marketing right now. Nexus gets really sticky with who pays sales tax in what state and why. And a lot of your private affiliate companies are ending their affiliate programs because it's just too much for them to handle all the overhead and the tax work and the legal stuff that's involved with that. And so a lot of them are opting to go more in favor of paid sponsored campaigns and advertising that way rather than with the affiliate programs that we've seen to date.
That's interesting because every time I turn around, I see pretty much every software as a service that I sign up for. When I sign up, they also tell me, oh, by the way, we have an affiliate program if you want to do it.
I think the larger companies do for the most part because they've got the overhead to handle that. They usually, if they have a dedicated financial person or a dedicated tax person, then it's usually not such a big deal. I'm talking more about like the smaller, in my circles, the smaller curriculum companies, for example, who may not have that amount of staff or resources to be able to handle those things, are finding that they're going to be able to get more ROI, more return on their investment from the sponsored campaigns than from all the headaches that come with the Nexus laws and the affiliate marketing.
Okay, well, so if you're a blogger, an entrepreneur who's building up an audience and who wants to think about using affiliate marketing as a way to make money, where do you start? How do you first figure out what you want to do, how to do it, and all those different pieces?
Well, again, it goes back to what problem do I want to solve for my people? And then what resources are out there to do that? If you're working in the fashion industry, there are people who have courses on how to choose the right fashion for your body type. There are people who have courses on how to do makeup, and so you would then start looking for those resources that would help your people and find out if they have an affiliate program, and then sign up for them and grab your link and go put it out on your social media or input it into your blog post.
Now, you also mentioned, obviously, that you disclose that these are affiliate links, which
Correct.
Just from a legal perspective, and I'll give you a little bit of foreshadowing, folks, that you have to disclose that. I'll talk about that in the legal lesson today. But Katie, do you sometimes feel, I don't want to say icky, but does it make you feel bad to be using affiliate links, or do you view it as, hey, I'm providing a service to my followers, and so I'm more than happy to do that?
I do not feel icky. And I hear the argument often that people don't like to click through affiliate links because they feel like it is somehow not an honest opinion. I personally do not recommend things that I have not used and really love, or else that I come highly, highly recommended from someone that I trust. And so that is my thing. I don't just recommend any product out there or any service out there. I need to have had some kind of a personal connection to it to be able to recommend it wholeheartedly. And so then I have no qualms at all about recommending it with my affiliate link. And as you said, you do have to disclose that this is an affiliate link. There is a specific disclosure that has to be on your website somewhere. Whoever is reading the post has to be able to see that this post contains affiliate links prior to seeing that very first link. So that is something that you have to do. It also has to be, and this is a little more technical, but just so that you know the language, it also has to be coded as a no-follow link. And that means that if you've been paid to put the link in the post, or you could receive some kind of compensation for including that link, then you have to code it as a no-follow link. And what that means is when Google sends the bots to your website to evaluate the relevancy of your content for the topic, then it knows not to take this link into consideration for that because you've been paid to include it. Because otherwise, people would just pay people to include things just to boost their relevancy, and Google would be more of a mess than it is.
Yeah, for those of you who maybe were wondering about that last piece, that is not a legal requirement. That is a Google requirement.
That is a Google requirement, yes.
And it has to do with your search engine optimization, because Google basically says, hey, we don't want people paying for links. And so that's a requirement there. Now, and again, I think your answer there, Katie, was perfect, which is, in some sense, why would I, as an entrepreneur, if literally I have a set of 10 different software tools that I use in my business and that I love, and I want to recommend them to my audience, why wouldn't I do that? And if they have an affiliate program, why wouldn't I take advantage of it? So I think, if you're using it from that perspective, there's no reason why you shouldn't do it. So,
right. And there's no reason not to recommend others that you know are quality as well. For instance, I use ConvertKit for my email. I recommend ConvertKit, but I also recommend MailChimp and a couple of others because I know that they're also good quality programs. And I'm a teacher. I realize not everyone can learn the same way. Not everything makes sense to people in the same way. And so for me, ConvertKit does what I need it to do, and I understand how to use it. But for other people, it's totally overwhelming, and they do better with MailChimp. And so I can still recommend that to both of them because I have experience with both, and I realize the difference in, not everyone having the same needs or being able to use the same programs to do what they want to do.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I'm kind of in a slightly different space. I use the Actionetics program within ClickFunnels as my email system because I use ClickFunnels and have that for other pieces of my business. but I used to use ConvertKit. So I would happily recommend ConvertKit to someone who doesn't need the whole suite of a sales funnel and all those other things through ClickFunnels.
Exactly.
So I think that's a great piece of advice for people. Katie, this has been a wonderful interview and you've given some great advice, but I want to ask you a couple of more general questions here.
Sure.
Now, one is, look, I'm an analytical guy. I love to read books. I tend to read tons and tons of books about things. For example, I got on a copywriting kick, and this is writing copy, not the legal side. And so I bought 7 or 8 books about it. So what I would ask you is there a book that you think the listeners should pick up to really advance their business, whether it's about blogging, affiliate marketing, or something else about business?
I read 43 books last year, Bobby. And
I love it.
Two of them really stood out. One of them, just for perspective, it's called The Noticer by Andy Andrews. And I think everyone in relationship business should read that book. It just really helps you to see every situation from a new perspective and look for the good in it, look for how you can help the other person. The other one that really made an impact on me was The 13-Week Year by Brian Moran. And the 13-week year is the idea that if I concentrate my year's goals into a 13-week deadline, I can accomplish way more in 12 months than I ever dreamed I could. And so it's breaking down your year into smaller segments and giving yourself a deadline so that every day is important. Every action is important. Every hour has a name on it, and really setting yourself up to be efficient and be accountable and really hone in on those goals and those most important ROI tasks. And so that 13-week year book, coupled with our own Blogwell planner that's set out as a quarterly planner, has really been key in helping us make the most even of Q1 in 2018.
You know, that's fantastic. The 13-week year is one that's on my wish list on Amazon. So I'm going to move that up the list. I want to make sure to read that. And the other one is The Noticers, which I had never heard of, but I've heard of Andy Andrews. So I definitely want to put that one on my list as well.
Yeah, The Noticer. It's awesome.
Okay. Now, one last question. I also like to think of things that you can do in bite-sized chunks. So what is something that listeners could do, say, in 5 minutes a day, or something they could accomplish by the end of the week to move their businesses forward that you would recommend they do?
I think it's important to focus on community. And I'm realizing this more and more. You can't have a business without people. And, you know, we've talked a lot about the whole relationship part of marketing, but your community that you build around your business and showing that human side of you with your brand and all of that. I think, you know, 5 minutes a day, if you can write that email that really helps your people know you better and identify with you and help them with that problem. Or if you can spend time in your Facebook group or even in someone else's Facebook group, just making connections and helping other people, focusing on that community is huge. Networking, helping other people just because you know that someday you're going to need help as well is really, really important. And so, you know, maybe that 5 minutes focusing on community is even, you know, outlining your next week's Instagram post so that you're really connecting with the people that you follow there and encouraging them to engage with you and just create that community there. Because again, you're trying to establish that trust that then allows you to come alongside them and guide them to the next solution.
I think that's great advice. And the community piece, I think, is fantastic. And it actually resonates with me right now, Katie, because I'm in a bunch of different Facebook groups, not any ones that I've set up. And in one of them, the host of the group set it up to really encourage people to engage over the next few weeks. And I started doing that over the weekend and just really trying to add value and chime in where I could. And I can tell you, without me ever soliciting or doing anything from it, I think just over the weekend, 3 people followed me on Facebook, followed my company on Facebook from that group. So I provided value. They said, hey, this guy is actually good. So then they must have looked me up, found out what I do because I didn't mention it. It's a great piece of advice and it doesn't take a ton of time to do, just provide value to people. So fantastic.
It doesn't. And often providing value comes in the form of just showing them attention. It's letting them know that they're heard, or it's asking them a question so that they can show off what they know or share their opinions. It doesn't take as much work as you think.
Yeah. And with me, it's often just make sure, just spot an or flag an issue. Hey, make sure, did you think about this issue?
Mm-hmm.
And I could do that in 20 seconds. So
right.
It's definitely worth doing, folks. Now, Katie, that's been great advice all around. So where can listeners get in touch with you if they're interested in what you do, learning more about blogging, affiliates? And I know you have a bunch of different courses on different subjects. So where do they find you and get more information about what you do?
Yeah, so I have katiehornor.com or bloggingsuccessfully.com, and you can find all of our courses and information there. I'm Katie Hornor pretty much anywhere online. So
yeah, and we will have links to all that in the show notes, so you don't have to write it down. Katie, thank you for being here. It has been a pleasure.
Well, thank you very much, Bobby.
Listeners, stay tuned after the break for my quick legal lesson where we're going to talk a little bit more about what you need to do on putting notices when you have affiliate links on your blog.
And now for today's legal lesson.
Yeah! Wow, Katie gave some really great advice there, and I love it because most of her advice is really about business building, but there was obviously some really good nuggets in there about creating a blog, building a blog, having goals, etc. But as I kind of foreshadowed during the interview, for the legal lesson, I'm going to focus on one specific piece, and that's the affiliate marketing piece. Now, this is an area where you have to disclose, and that's what I want to make sure you understand. If you are going to engage in affiliate marketing, you have to give disclosures that make very clear that you are being compensated. Now, this guidance or this legal requirement in the United States comes from the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC. And they have rules on this. And the rules say that basically anyone who will get a cash payment, free products, store credits, discounts, free services, special access, or favors of any kind in exchange for recommending or endorsing a product, that you have to disclose that, and you have to make clear that you're disclosing that or that you are getting that advantage. And the reason is so that consumers know how to judge the information you're giving. It just makes sense. If someone is giving a recommendation and they're not getting anything in exchange, generally that will be given more weight. Now, if your followers have a level of trust with you, they're going to trust what you say anyway, but you have to disclose that you are in fact getting something in return for your endorsement. Now, the important thing to understand is how do you go about doing that? Some people for a long time thought, oh, well, I'll just give a generic disclosure that some of the links on my webpage are an affiliate link. And they maybe put that into their terms of service on their website. That's not good enough. So you have to disclose it in a clear and conspicuous way. And as Katie mentioned, it needs to be before they see the first affiliate link. But more importantly, you can't just have this generic statement that, oh, some of these links are affiliate links. You have to tell them that your links are affiliate links, because that way they know that this recommendation is that. Again, if you do a blog post that is all about one product and has links to that product, and you put at the top that the links are affiliate links, that's probably going to suffice, right? But if you have a post that has some affiliate links and some non, you're definitely going to have to put that in there. Now, the good example, the classic example, is going to be on a resources page. And we talked about that, or Katie and I talked about that. That is a common thing that online entrepreneurs have. I haven't put it on my website, but quite honestly, I need to. And the point is, I'm going to tell everyone who follows me, who goes to my website, what products, what services I use to run my business. And that's the only thing I'm going to put down there are the services that I use in my business. And so I can say, hey, that's in some sense the best endorsement. But at the top of the page, I'm going to make very clear that, hey, these are affiliate links. If you sign up through any one of these links, I will get some piece of it. So you just need to be very explicit and very clear so that people know the relationship. That's what it is. But again, quite honestly, you're going to actually going to build up trust with your audience by disclosing this. Now, the problem is if you don't disclose it, people are probably going to wonder why you're making these recommendations. But if you disclose it and just say, look, And you do it in a way that I would say, kind of like when I was a federal prosecutor, I recommended to cooperating witnesses. Of course, you should admit that you're a cooperating witness and that you're hoping to get something in return. And the same thing with affiliate link. I'm saying, look, I'm recommending this because I use it. I only recommend products that I use. But if you click and ultimately purchase, I want you to know I will get something from it. But even if you're not going to use this affiliate link, I highly recommend that you look at this service. So if you do that, you will start to build trust with your audience, and you can actually use it as a way to build your business. But just make sure that you are, noting that you have affiliate links so that there is no question, there's no issue when people click through and understand. So that's what you need to understand as a general matter. It needs to be kind of on the same screen. It needs to be very clear to someone so there's no question about it. And that's what needs to be done. Just make sure you do that when you use affiliate links, and you will stay out of trouble with the FTC, which is a very good thing. That's it for this week's episode of the Online Genius Show. I hope you'll take the advice that Katie gave and come up with a plan to really start to, figure out how you're going to make a living with your blog, whether it's through affiliate marketing or something else. Have a plan and stick to it, and you can actually make a living at this. So that's the upshot today. That's what you need to do. Again, if you haven't yet given a rating and review to the show, I would appreciate it if you would. Every time someone does that, it helps other people discover the show. If you really enjoy it and want to share it on social media, I would be forever in your debt. But I just hope that you'll keep listening and recommend it to anyone you think will find value from the show. That's it for this week. Some really great guests coming in the coming weeks, so I hope you stick around and I hope you tune in. Until then, this is Bobby Klink signing off.
Thanks for listening. And remember to visit mistakes.youronlinegenius.com to get your essential guide to the 4 legal mistakes that can doom your business and how to avoid them. Join us next week for another episode to expand your online genius and your success.